What's good, y'all? This your boy Blak G 92. As you can see right now, I got some new headphones for Christmas, and shout out to my little sister Kayla for sending them in for me and all that, getting them for me as such. And I'm also glad they arrived in the mail as such, so I gotta give her a shout out right before I get to the video because it's only right. And not to mention, I'm going to get started. And the video I'm going to react to, probably like the first 11 minutes of, will be another Wrestle with Andy mini documentary titled Best of NXT Greatest Storylines. So, about 18-minute long video. I'm going to see what the storylines are kind of set. And shout out to, I think Jacoby gave me this video to react to. So I'm going to see what this first half of this mini documentary is looking like. About 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
In historical terms, NXT is still relatively young in many ways, as it's only been around since 2010. But in that period, it's been able to put up...
It's about 15 years. Next year will be 15 years, so it's been around for a while, good while. But yes, I see where he's coming from. Still relatively young compared to other programs in WWE, so I get what he means.
Some great storylines. Yes, the developmental show has been no stranger to an entertaining angle or two, but what are the best of these angles? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be looking at right now. And where better to start than with arguably the greatest NXT story of them all, the saga of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. That's right, there was nowhere else we could realistically start with this one, as even now, several years on, this probably still ranks as the high watermark of the black and gold brand. What made this one so great? Well, it involved two of the best wrestlers WWE had on their roster at the time, each operating at the top of their game. And it all started with them undergoing a fantastic tag team run during the mid-2010s. Once Tommaso Ciampa decided he'd had enough of being part of a team with Gargano, however, things would change very quickly, as following their loss to the Authors of Pain at May 20th, 2017's TakeOver Chicago, he'd attack his now former partner and become the biggest heel on the brand in the process. How would Johnny Wrestling respond to this? Well, he'd be out for revenge, and that revenge would eventually come when the pair took part in a series of high-profile bouts the following year. Sadly, though, it seemed like the universe never wanted to see this one get the grand finale it deserved, because every time we reached that point, outside forces would put a stop to it. It didn't matter if it was injury or a pesky worldwide shutdown. Gargano Ciampa never managed to get the satisfying conclusion we all wanted it to have. Of course, none of this takes away from how great the feud was outside of that, though. No, even if the ending never fully arrived, the journey getting there was unparalleled in terms of the kind of storytelling WWE was putting on at the time. So good was it, in fact, many people still think of this first when they think of great angles from NXT. But it's not the only great angle the developmental brand has had over the years. No, there have been others too.
Looks very
others
convincing.
Which have approached this level of greatness. Hell, there have even been others which centered on partners becoming enemies, as can be seen in our next subject, the feud between Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. Yes, you can call this one Shawn Michaels' spin on an old classic, because here he took an angle we'd all seen before and made it his own. And the way he did that was to, as Triple H had done before him, take two of the best performers on the show at the time and having them start out their runs by teaming up together. Obviously, though, this wasn't destined to last forever, so after a couple of years of ruling the roost together, with Hayes serving as the leader and Williams the young Padawan in many ways, it became apparent a turn was coming sooner rather than later. How did we know a turn was coming? Well,
these headphones sound so amazing. The sound quality, fucking with it. But yeah, also just hearing hearing Andy's voice describing this whole scenario, yeah, sounds great through headphones. I had to say that.
After Trick was laid out backstage by a mystery assailant, and Mello began acting a little suspiciously about the entire thing, we could put two and two together and see where things were going. Before this turn would come, though, there would be plenty of moments of teasing the fans, as Hayes tried to gaslight both his partner and his fans into believing it was someone else responsible for attacking Trick Willie. Of course, we could all see through this, however. And so when Carmelo eventually nailed his now former friend with a steel chair at February 4th, 2024's Vengeance Day, all we wanted was for the babyface to get his revenge. And he would do just this, as it happened, because after beating Hayes at April 6, 2024's Stand and Deliver show, Williams went on to beat Ilya Dragunov for the NXT World title just a few weeks later, with this marking the ultimate victory for the up-and-coming star, as it meant not only had he gotten one over on the man who'd betrayed him, but he'd also become champion too. And with him effectively being run out of NXT at this point, it's left Trick with the whole brand to himself. Now free from the influence of Carmelo forever, or at least it'll leave him free from his influence until the two inevitably find themselves back on the same brand together on the main roster. Can we expect a satisfying continuation of their story once that happens? Quite possibly, as with there being a better line of communication between Raw, SmackDown, and NXT these days, the transition process is often a lot smoother, and that's been evident in the rise of Braun Breaker, with his rise starting all the way down in NXT during the early 2020s. Now, it should...
Do you want to see how
fairly recent. Sounds fairly recent. Oh boy. And that was shut up.
Now, it should have always seemed obvious to anyone with eyeballs that Braun Breaker was going to be a star, as he has everything required to get over in the halls of WWE. After all, he's got the look, he's got the presence, and he can even wrestle too. Back in the Vince McMahon era, though, it was never a given that anyone was going to succeed. And so that's why we're lucky Braun managed to find himself going down the correct path right from the get-go then, as from day one, he was treated like a future ace. Need any evidence of this? Well, how about the fact that when NXT morphed into its 2.0 incarnation and a whole new host of characters were added, he was immediately pegged as the top star of these new faces. With this being why he was pretty quickly thrust into the main event picture when he got a chance to challenge then NXT champion Tommaso Ciampa for the title. And the son of Rick Steiner wouldn't just challenge here. No, he'd win. With this being something which immediately put the rest of the roster on notice as to who the new top dog in town was. What happened following that? Well, Braun's rise continued with him getting big wins over main roster talent such as Dolph Ziggler. Hell, at one point he'd even score a victory over the mighty Gunther, a rare achievement these days. And by the time his run on top was done then, he'd have made mincemeat of just about everyone there. But even when he lost the NXT title, the Georgia native wasn't quite done in the developmental brand yet. No, he still had great heel and tag team runs in him, with his time spent as a duo with Baron Corbin in 2024 probably representing the best work of the Lone Wolf's entire career. Of course, it was always only going to be a matter of time until Braun moved up to the main roster, however, as NXT simply couldn't contain him forever. So that's why in recent months he's made his way over to Raw, where his path of dominance has continued seamlessly. That said, if he wants to be as dominant as our next subject, he still has a long way to go yet, because when it comes to Asuka, her time in developmental was spent undergoing one of the most impressive undefeated streaks in modern memory. Allow us to take you back to 2015 for a moment, a period many people consider to be the high watermark of NXT as a brand. It was there that after spending the first part of her career becoming a superstar on the Japanese Joshi scene with her murder clown character Kana, Kanako Urai signed on the dotted line with WWE and was there immediately rebranded as Asuka. Who was Asuka? Well, as we would soon all find out, she was an unbeatable force of nature. Yes, pretty quickly, the woman who at that point in time could very easily have been called the best female wrestler in the world started racking up victory after victory after victory. It didn't matter who was put in front of her. Dana Brooke, Cameron, Emma, they all fell in short order to the might of the Empress of Tomorrow. So it should come as no surprise then that before long, Asuka began setting her sights on winning the NXT Women's title, a title then being held by Bayley. And for as great as Bayley was and is, even she proved unable to stand up to the Japanese phenomenon when the two finally met in the ring with the gold on the line at TakeOver Dallas on April 1st, 2016. That's right, this was the start of a title run which would go on to become legendary in the halls of Full Sail University, as by the time it was over, Asuka would have held the gold for a full 522 days, a record which still stands.
Very impressive record, I have to add.
To this day. And it's not even as if anyone would beat her for the belt by the time things were said and done. No, the only reason she lost it at all was because she got called up to the main roster, where she continued on with her undefeated streak on Raw for a while. Of course, she isn't the only person with a legendary lengthy title run in the developmental brand, however, as a few years later, the same thing would happen with Gunther and his NXT United Kingdom title reign. Yes, we never said this video was going to be limited to the US branch of NXT, as the UK version certainly had its high points over the years too.
Across the water.
Introduced WWE fans to the likes of Rhea Ripley, Toni Storm, Pete Dunne, and Tyler Bate, just to name a few.
Quite the names.
Of all the success stories of NXT UK, perhaps none are bigger than the man who then went by the name of Walter, as today he currently stands as one of the biggest stars on Raw and the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. Not that lengthy runs on top were anything unusual to him before this, though, because after winning the NXT UK title from Pete Dunne at TakeOver New York on April 5th, 2019, He'd go on to hold that particular piece of hardware for 870 days, a staggering achievement in anyone's book. And it's not as if he
Very
had an easy
impressive.
time during this period either, because, well, for most of us, navigating a global shutdown was hard enough.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
opponents such as Joe Coffey, Tyler Bate, and Ilya Dragunov while he was at it. In fact, his match against the latter on the October 29th, 2020 episode of NXT UK was so savage and hard-hitting, even the toughest wrestlers out there must have winced when they saw the pair knocking absolute lumps out of one another, with the empty arena setting to this one, making it so that every point of impact could be heard with painful clarity. But while Walter would win that bout, in the end, it would be Dragunov who took his title from him in an epic rematch almost a year later at TakeOver 36, with this finally marking the end of one of the most impressive title reigns of all time. How would the Austrian respond to such a loss? Well, as we all know now, he'd head up to the main roster, change his name to Gunther, and there, start a whole new path of destruction. And while he was doing this, he would have a showdown or two with our next subject, a man who also holds claim to one of the greatest stories in NXT history, as it was back during the early days of the brand that Sami Zayn's journey towards the world title helped establish the entire thing. Now, we all love a good babyface chase for the title angle. Hell,
Oh, yeah.
there's a reason it worked
Everyone
so well
does.
for the likes of Cody Rhodes in recent years. And that reason is because we all like to see the underdog have to overcome the odds and get what they deserve. That said, while Cody is certainly a great babyface, perhaps even he isn't as lovable as Sami is. And it's for this reason, then, that his journey to the top in the mid-2010s was so special. All you had to do was look at his face every time he ate a loss during this period, and you felt terrible for him. You just wanted to see him succeed so badly. So when he eventually managed to string a series of wins
I could
together
definitely see that.
and earn that shot at then-champion Bo Dallas then, it felt like the entire world was behind the Quebec native. Unfortunately, though, this wouldn't be Sami's moment quite yet. No, Triple H was playing the long game with him, and so it was that Adrian Neville, the man better known today as Pac, would be the one who eventually dethroned Dallas instead. That didn't mean Sami was completely down and out. No, he'd continue to work his way back up the ranks until finally, after
That's
every
impressive.
hurdle had been placed in his path, he got another one-on-one shot at the gold at TakeOver Our Revolution on December 11th, 2014. And it was there that in one of the most emotionally satisfying moments in that brand's history, Zayn managed to win the big one and at last hold the title above his head. Sure, he would lose it to
That's
Kevin
what's
Owens
up.
pretty quickly after this,
Oh,
but the title run
damn.
itself was never the story
dub
here.
and the
No,
loss
the story was
right
Sami
after.
proving to himself that he could beat the champ and that he could be the man, Rocky Balboa style. That said, not all good
That
stories.
very well could be the case. I'm going to go ahead and take a pause right here and go ahead and continue on with the next part. I believe sometime tomorrow. Sometime tomorrow. So yeah, that was the first part. The first part of Best of NXT Great Storylines. Let me see what people say in the comment section. And thus far it's very informative, entertaining. Like every last one of his documentaries I've reacted to thus far. And let's see, Adam Cole, John Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Ben Balor. It's my Mount Rushmore of NXT superstars. Okay. Should have a special mention to Aleister Black and Velveteen Dream. To say my name angle is very well done. Undisputed Era will ever be the best faction in black and gold NXT. Okay, I see a lot of fans come up there on little lists and all that good stuff. That's what's up, man. And plus, I like to say as well, this is the second day before the new year. It's not second, the second to last day before 2025 goes around. So I'm definitely going to crank out a lot more content. Like I said, I'm going to do the second half of this video. Then I'll probably record a couple more videos before I get to the festivities, tomorrow night, and I get a little drink in my system. Probably during New Year's, I might record a little something, after I get a little sauced up and come on here and just talk to y'all real quick and just let you know about my plans for the future and all that good shit. And plus what I have planned for New Year's and maybe 2025, 2026, and just talk about plans, not more so plans, but also goals I should have had accomplished a long ass time ago, but better late than never, certain shit. So definitely gonna let y'all know about whatever goals I have in store, and hope everybody enjoys the journey with me. And if you want me to react to more of these mini documentaries or songs, music videos, whatever the case may be, post them in the comment section below. And also be sure to hit that like button, hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button as well. And also be sure to follow me on my social media accounts, which will be posted in the description box below if you want to see what I'm into off of these YouTube channel, off this YouTube stuff, and my thoughts on certain shit, you know. Just be sure to follow my social media accounts and tell a friend, tell everybody about this channel, so we keep this channel on and going and keep this channel growing. This your boy Blak G 92 about to sign off. Holla at your boy. Peace.